Hey guys, Scott here, and I'm here to tell you all about how horrible Dead by Daylight has felt to play in the past, I'd say, a month at this point. If Dead by Daylight is my favorite game, why am I not having fun with it? Well, there's actually a lot of reasons. Now, 2v8 came and went, it lasted about 3 weeks, and it was great. And I'll be honest, I actually really loved 2v8 this time around. If I'm honest, 2v8 is my favorite mode that Behavior has come up with. It's just a lot more chill. And not only is it a lot more chill, it's a lot more turn your brain off and just relax. And as a player, as someone who's been playing Dead by Daylight for 8 years, and I know just about every stage that this game has had, its good, its highs, its lows, all of that, for me, 2v8 just reminds me the most of 2016. And you might say, well, 2016 was super unbalanced, and that's not exactly what I'm saying. What I think made 2v8 special to me is how a lot more simpler it is. Dead by Daylight is 8 years old, and we have what is it, 35 chapters? Maybe more than that, counting all the Survivor ones. So many maps, so many killers, and so many perks. Now, more content is great, and I'm not trying to say Dead by Daylight should have less content. However, it really does feel like the more that gets added to this game, the more frustrating it gets to play it. There's a lot more ways you can punish the killer, and there's also a lot more ways the killer can punish the survivor. So there's this constant back and forth of whether the killer wants to make the survivor's experience miserable, or whether the survivor wants to make the killer's experience miserable. And it's just this constant battle that is always going on. And this has been a consistent threat with the game. And unfortunately, this us versus them mentality is never gonna go away. So we kind of just have to deal with it. But as a player who just wants everything to be great and all of us to have a great time and just have some normal matches, it makes playing this game miserable. So yesterday I played Dead by Daylight on stream for about 3 hours and 35 minutes, which is about how much I normally play every other day. I don't play this game as much as most people, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because I played 16 matches yesterday, and during the stream I was testing new builds in order to introduce new players different builds that might help them get better at Unknown, in particular to practice orbitals, tracking survivors, and all this other fun things. And I also had 2 other gimmick builds that I wanted to try that might just be fun and different than what you're used to using. So this was actually what I've already made a thumbnail for, and I recorded an intro for it. However, again, I played 16 matches last night and hopes to get some good footage and just to explain how these builds worked. And out of the 16 matches I played, 11 of them had map offerings, or styptics, or syringes, or brand new parts. It could have been any of the few that I listed. However, these were a persistent threat. This is without even mentioning perks, or what maps I got, or anything like that. This is just the things I was noticing. So, what's the issue here? I want to try out builds and showcase how they work. However, when I play the game, I'm constantly facing these groups of survivors that are running the best add-ons and the best maps and the best things they can do to win. I sack-worded all of these maps and I was still getting put on Larry's. Like, dude, this is just getting frustrating. I'm sorry. Now, I can honestly say, hey, maybe I just had an unlucky day, you know? I played the game at 9 p.m. until about 1 a.m., give or take. So that's demon hours for a lot of players. That is when a lot of the Survive friend groups are out and about. And I can attest to this, as this is when my friend group usually plays. But we never do this stuff. So I don't know, man. It feels really punishing to just play the game. And I'll attest to this again by saying, when I play Survivor, we also get this stuff on against the killers we face. Now, maybe not as much map offerings. However, I had consistently seen 4 slowdowns when we played. We even played against a clown the other day who proxy camped a 4-gen and a hook. We got absolutely horrendous RNG. and they were literally just proxy camping a hook on the new Ormond Lake Mine map. So this stuff happens on both sides, and honestly, like, it's never gonna go away, and there's not a lot you can do to fix it. I kind of wanted to make this Yapatronic video to sort of explain why why it's hard for me to make unknown content, because I haven't even got to the main point that I wanted to make here because I've been yapping for so long. But I wanted to say that playing a killer like the Unknown is difficult. Unknown has a lot of counterplay, and it can be really frustrating and hard to use your power versus great groups. So if you're a newer player wanting to learn Unknown or get better, I want you to know, I'm sorry, buddy, you're gonna have to zone. And I hate to say it, dude, like, it feels like with Unknown, with great players who are very cognizant and able to understand how to counter you, it can feel like you have barely any power. Unknown has a lot of counterplay, and it honestly can be so punishing. So I want to tell people, this is a great point that I think should be made, especially to anyone wanting to learn and practice Unknown. Yeah, you're playing a killer that has a lot of counterplay, and sometimes you just can't do anything. And I really want to show you that, hey, even some of the players that practice Unknown and play them the most, even they have these sort of matches. I think anyone that plays Unknown as much as me can certainly attest to what I'm saying here. It just be like that sometimes, man. It just do, and there's not much else you can do to solve it. So I actually have a few ideas on what could possibly be done to make these style of matches be a little less frustrating. Now, obviously, we all know the hidden MMR is a massive part in dealing with these sort of matches. In fact, this MMR is so specific that we don't even know the true stats and how MMR even works. A while back, it had come to our attention from the Dead by Daylight developers that the soft cap of MMR has been raised, so you as a player will see less players that Dead by Daylight determines are lower skill than you. And from what we can understand as players, your MMR only goes up if you get kills or escape. Now, there might be a little bit more in between, but for the most part, that is what we know. So what does this mean? If the MMR soft cap is raised, and we're seeing more groups similar to our skill level, that means we'll be facing more groups that want to win every game. This is why you're constantly facing groups that have brand new parts, or styptics, or Iria Crow's offerings, or why you're facing killers that have force slowdown, or the best add-ons for their power, or, you know, whatever. It's basically this never-ending cycle of who can outwin the other opponent by what they are using. Now, if I'm honest, I don't think this can be solved without removing MMR or heavily adjusting it. So I actually have a better idea. Now, Behavior's been making game modes for quite a long time. I would really like to see a perkless game mode or a ranked mode that limits perk and add-on diversity. This ranked mode could consistently change, and we could constantly have a different set of perks that Behavior wants to encourage people to use. And I think if Behavior were to do something like this, I would really like to play this more than the normal mode. I feel like it'd be a lot more fun to play with a more limited subset of perks and maybe add-ons, and especially map offerings. I think something like that would be pretty cool. Now, obviously, I don't think this is gonna happen. The community is already in gripes over the 2v8 queue times. Imagine if we have a ranked mode to add on to that. It's just, dude, at the end of the day, we are playing Dead by Daylight, which is a very, very unique game in that you just have to deal with this sort of stuff. I'll just reiterate, this is kind of what you get into when you play this game, and it sucks. I feel like I've been talking about this for way too long, and I think everyone should understand what I'm saying. I'm sure everyone else has experienced stuff like this, and I actually have to ask. I do want to ask if everyone else has been getting bad games like this, and this is after the end of 2v8. So not only during 2v8 was I experiencing this, I was also experiencing this like this week in particular, literally yesterday as I'm talking right now. And how consistent do you deal with these type of stuff? And this is for both sides. I really do want to know. So what else do I have to say about this? Well, if I'm honest, I was trying to get that video out. And I'll actually tease the thumbnail right here because I'm pretty dang proud of it. If I'm honest, my thumbnails have way more effort than my actual videos. So nonetheless, I wanted to showcase this. And yeah, I will most likely still be trying to work on this video. And I also want to keep doing build videos because if I'm honest, I'm actually kind of at this point where I hit a wall on unknown content, right now at least. It's mostly just sort of where I'm like, hey, I feel like I've explained almost all the strategies and texts that you can gather without going into very, very specific, hey, on this map, you can do this. Or this is my favorite map over this one. Or, I mean, like really particular stuff. I feel like in the broader case of unknown's potential, I feel like I've nailed that with all of my current tips and tricks videos. So I'm actually going to ask you guys if there's something you want to see from me, whether it be, hey, maybe match reviews or I don't know, anything like that. Certainly let me know, because honestly, I kind of want to just be this beacon for unknown stuff. And it's been a little difficult recently with how busy I've been, but I always want to be around, even if I can't upload consistently or I can't stream consistently. I want to be around and I want to help people. So you could always join my Discord and talk in there. It's dead, but like if you really had a question for me and you can't reach me for whatever reason, there you go. The point I'm trying to make is it's hard to help people sometimes, especially when you're really busy. Yes, I will try and get this video out. I don't know when, maybe in the next week or two. If I do get good games, it'll be very soon. However, depending on my workload this week, we'll really have to see how it happens. We also do have the PTB coming on Tuesday. I normally don't do PTB stuff. However, if it's fun and interesting, I certainly will. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. As always, this is basically just me updating what's going on. And I definitely think I'm going to keep doing some more build stuff because I really want to showcase some fun builds that you can do with Unknown. And more than just the 3 that I came up with today. I have quite a few from my friends, Honest Panda, Winter Bliss, Indigo, all of them. We have some pretty cool builds that I think are worth sharing because they're a lot different than what you might actually think of. So yeah, that's all I really have to say. Again, I'll reiterate, if you have anything you want to see from me, please let me know, because it's hard for me. I'm not really the imaginative person that you might think I am, but I do want to make the most interesting and engaging stuff for the unknown that I can, that no one else is doing on YouTube. So please, if there's something you like that you want me to keep doing, let me know. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you. And yeah, we'll try to keep this momentum going. I know I'm off and on with uploads, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I promise. I promise. I promise. I can't shut down my in real life workload for YouTube, unfortunately. So we will keep going and we'll keep moving slowly. And I want people to know that we've got this and we'll get through this. We'll get through this. I'm punching the air right now as we talk. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. And thank you for listening if you stuck around this long. Yeah, that's it. Bye.